Hello YouTube! It is the evening of Thursday the 21st of December, and this is probably going to be the last video that I do this year, but who knows what happens. I'm going to dedicate this video to my lovely partner. She knows why, because of the date. Thinking about her today while I was at work, and I'm going to do a lot of hopefully tying up some loose ends today. It may be quite a long video. I haven't obviously scripted anything, as always. I've got in my head a few things I want to talk about, and I will probably forget half of them and still have a very long video. So let's get started. It's been a really interesting day today, I would say. Or at least I think it has been for me. And I'll start off with yesterday evening on the way back from London. I got a bid on a job for this morning, well, for this afternoon actually. It was going from Grantham to ST14, and I was pretty certain I knew where ST14 would end up, where I would be. And so, because I thought it would be quite an awkward one, and because it wasn't until picking up until 1 o'clock, I put a speculative bid on, not expecting to get it, and I did get it. So it was for a long wheelbase job. The loaded miles was something like 66 loaded miles from Grantham to Uttoxeter, and I bid £130, and I got it. And I spoke to the guy who gave me the job. We had a bit of a chat about, I said to him, is this going to where I think it's going? And he said it was. And he said, is that going to be a problem? I said, no, that's fine, as long as I know in advance what to expect, that's not a problem. And he made a bit of a joke saying, I thought you would do from your bid. And I felt a bit guilty about my bid being like £2 a mile, so I did say to him, well, I would give you an hour's free waiting time for that, because I think that was, in my mind, that was what was on my mind, that he was perhaps reluctant to give me a job for the price. But he may not be thinking that, but that's why I thought I wanted to offer him a bit of an olive branch, as it were, in terms of what he might be thinking about the price and what I was doing. I wasn't trying to please him. I was trying to just account for my time, bearing in mind it was a 1 o'clock pickup, so it would have been right in the middle of the day. And also, it's about an hour's journey to the pickup as well, so there's a lot of reasons why I put that bit on. Okay, so we'll put the phone down, and oh yes, before we ended the phone call, he said it's going to be €3.50 pallets. And I did say, oh, my van is only 3.5 metres long. And we had a bit of a think about it, and I said, well, I would do my best to accommodate those pallets and get this job done for you. And I think he took that as enough reassurance that I could do the job. Now, I felt a little bit guilty because my van's length is actually 3.4 metres and not 3.5, but I didn't want to go I don't want to go in and say my van's 3.4 metres, sounding like it's a problem. So I just said 3.5 as a summary, and then we kind of thought, oh, it's going to be tight, but we should have to get it in. And anyway, I'm telling you this because it's on my mind, and I didn't tend to tell you what's on my mind because it gets out of my mind. So it's good, it gets off my chest as it were. So I was going there this morning and I thought, oh, it's going to be tight, this is. But what I could probably do is perhaps get the half pallet under my bulkhead. There's a few centimetres, if it's a low down pallet, a few centimetres extra give there. And then maybe at the end I might have to bungee cord together the back doors closed, just so that they don't stay open if that's going to be where I'm going to be. I thought I'd rather do that than let him down and not So I was a little bit apprehensive about the whole thing going in this morning, today. Oh, but before I do that, let me tell you about my plan. So, because I knew I had that booked in, I was thinking I can either try and get a local job beforehand, or just have an early, a late morning, and just do that's my first job. And I decided I would wait till the morning and see how my sleep was, and see how early I got up to decide what I would do. And in the end, I had a restful night's sleep. No, restless night's sleep, as in a few sort of dreams. But so by the time I woke up, it was 10:30. So that decided for me what I was going to do. I wasn't going to be going out and getting an early job. So I was potting around this morning, getting ready, and then I left the house to go and pick up this load at 12 o'clock. And it's about 40. No, it was 12 when I left the house, because it was a 45-minute journey. And it was really windy this morning. It's not so bad right now, but this morning it was really windy. And I was doing the back roads up towards Grantham, and then I came across a tree across this lane, and it was fully across the lane, and the trunk was about a foot wide in diameter. No, not diameter, in wide. And there's no way that was being shifted by me or even anyone else. So I just reversed and went round. Found another way to get to Grantham, and I got there in the end with 5 minutes to spare at the pickup. So I wasn't late, and I was quite pleased about that. When I arrived, I was expecting to pick up 3.5 euro pallets, and in the end it was just 2 pallets. So all of my sort of planning and worrying about the size of it was for nothing. In the end, I was so relieved when I double checked with the guy that that's all I was taking. It was 2 pallets. And I was so happy, because it meant I wasn't going to let anyone down. That's the main thing. So I got that loaded up, got it photographed and trapped down, and made my way towards Toxeter. It was only about an hour and a half's drive, roughly. And obviously at the other end I was wondering how much I was going to wait when I got there. When I did arrive at my drop-off location, there was another stipulation. When I arrived at the pickup, the guys gave me the pallets, gave me 3 lots of paperwork. 1 lot of paperwork to be kept by the customer, 1 lot of paperwork to be signed on every page, there's 4 pages, and to be returned to them in the post, and 1 set of paperwork to be signed on every page by the customer to be returned to the shipper. So I was a little bit unsure as to whether I was going to get every page signed, because I have been to this site before, and sometimes the forklift drivers can be a little bit short with you and hurried. So I just thought I'd have to go in there with my very nicest smile and my friendliest face to get the forkie to sign 8 pages of paperwork. Anyway, I got to the drop-off location and went to their little office, which is just changed now. You go to a window now rather than going inside. And I was as nice as pie as I could be with the people in there, and they were very nice back. I found out that tomorrow they close, so I think they close about midday tomorrow, and they open again on 2nd of January. So there'll be no work going to them over Christmas. And I was really surprised because I didn't get given a little buzzer to hold on to. They basically just processed it there and then. And there wasn't that many lorries in the queue that I was in. So I think because I was in a van and because it wasn't that busy, they just did it straight away. So immediately I was quite optimistic that I might get in and out quite quickly. And I waited for a bit because they were doing processing. and then I was sent to the security office. And just a little side note: if you've ever been to this particular place, you stand. I mean, it's obviously in the past they've had issues with people being aggressive, because you stand at the security part, but the window is fenced off with like a metal railing, so you can't get to the window. You have to stand about 1.5 meters away, and you have to wait there. Don't tap on the window, whatever you do. And then eventually they open the window and you can be spent with it. You give them from the office, but you stand there and they don't come to you very quickly. You do kind of wonder, are they, because they can see you through the window, are they just waiting to see what you do? I mean, I don't believe they are that busy all the time, not today. So I was probably there for about 1.5 minutes, just waiting. There's no bell to press, you just got to stand there like a lemon waiting for them to service you. It's their little bit of power, I think they have. It's all a bit weird, to be honest, this whole attitude to people. I'm just assuming they've had really bad experiences in the past from aggressive drivers, sort of being impatient. So fair enough. That's what they have to do. That's what they have to do. I got let in, made my way to the place I now know where to go. I even put my keys on their little hook when I arrived, and it was raining, and I was all very compliant. I waited in my van till the forklift driver came round. I gave him the paperwork. I asked him really nicely, can you sign all the pieces of pages for me for my client? And I said, there's 2 pallets here. Open the doors and back in the cab. So I did all the things they want me to do, and waited. And it wasn't very long. It was probably about 10 minutes. I was offloaded by 2 different forklift drivers. And the other forky came back with the paperwork and gave it back to me. And he showed me he had signed all the pages. So I thought it was really good of him. I've been there in other times where I get someone stamps. There's a forklift driver that stamps your paperwork with a stamp. Doesn't even bother to sign it. Anyway, so it was all going really well at this point. Bear in mind, I hadn't picked up till about 1 o'clock, and this could have been the rest of my day here. I'd arrived about 3ish, and I was offside about, let's say, 3:30. Can't remember exactly when. So then I drove to the nearest supermarket and parked up in their car park, and I was going to get something to eat. And then I looked at jobs, and there was a job going from Uttoxeter, which is where I was, to London, and it was going to London and then Waterville, like near Portsmouth. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. I'll be going the opposite way from home. So I didn't bother bidding on it. And then another job came up, and it's from Uttoxeter to London, and a separate job, Uttoxeter to Waterville. I thought, excellent, I'll do the London one of those, because it's the last job of the day. If I get a decent price on it, I'll just do that as my last job. So it's 140 loaded miles from Uttoxeter to London. It was for a small van. I paid £150, 150. And I just thought, well, I'm really close to the pickup. I was 8 minutes away, about 8 miles as well. And I thought that'd be quite a nice end to my day. Just quickly, I know it's London, but it wasn't central London. It was sort of north and east London. No, sorry, West London. So it was a W5 postcode. So I was just about to get up and go to the shop, and then I got a phone call, and they offered me the job, and they just said, make sure you collect a delivery note from the collection point. So I said, that's fine. Got off, as I usually do now, I got off them the name of the person I was speaking to. I asked him the actual postcode I was going to, so I'm going to start making my way there, and told him I'd be about 10 minutes to get to the pickup. So I went straight there. What I worked out about me in this job is, if I've got a task to do, like go do a collection or go and do a delivery, I just tend to get on with it. I don't tend to like to pause. even though having the odd break is not really a problem in this job. But I just tend to, once I know what I've got to do, I just go and get on and do it. And so I'd rather be going and get some food. I thought I'll get food later. I went on and made my way the 8 miles to the pickup. So I arrived at the pickup place. I had to do a quick Google search of the name of the company because it was to an industrial estate, but found it quite easily. Went to reception. I was given a name of someone to contact, and they were there. They said to me, ring this number and this name when you get on site. And I said, I need a delivery note. And she said, oh, it's okay, I trust you. So I think the delivery note was the request of the person I was collecting from rather than the shipper. So I just made sure I told the shipper when I collected the pallet that I hadn't got a delivery note, made a note on the CX that the person who told me not to take one, and that they'd give me a number and name instead, effectively. I just covered myself by posting a note on the CX after I did the loading. The only thing about the load that was a little bit unusual, but I didn't really think anything of it, to be fair, is that it was forklifted on, but it was really quite light, so I pushed it to the bulkhead. They put it on my side door, and it's about, I don't know, about 10 centimetres away from the bulkhead, so I just pushed it. It was really quite light to my bulkhead. I didn't even, to be fair, bother strapping it down. It was against the bulkhead, it was so light. I did notice that there was a bit on top that was, so it was all cellophaned, and the bit on top was cellophaned, like a bit of lump on top of cellophane as well. I noticed that wobbled a bit, but didn't think anything of it. It was such a light load. So I then made my way, after having done the phone call to the shipper to explain what I'd not got a delivery note, put the photo on of the load onto my CX, put the note on, and then made my way towards London. And my time was going to be, I think I left the pickup point at around about 4 o'clock-ish, just past 4 o'clock, 4:15 maybe, and my ETA at London was going to be 7 o'clock. Does that sound right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 140 miles, yeah, that's right. It's about 3 hours. So I just carried on driving towards London. On the way, I got about an hour into the journey, and I had a phone call from the shipper. And I'm always quite defensive or apprehensive when a shipper calls me in the middle of a job, because it's usually I immediately think I've done something wrong, and I've got to sort of try and defend myself. It's just an instinct that I have. It's usually fine. Yeah, but anyway, so I'm usually on edge when I get a phone call. It doesn't happen very often. And that phone call, the shipper was saying that actually what happened is that they'd accidentally put on the load to Waterlooville with the pallet. And actually I had both loads on my van. And could I take the second load down to Waterlooville? And I was sort of caught on the hop with this question, in that I very much wanted to be helpful, and then I thought I need to price this properly because this is going completely the wrong direction. I've got to get home, and I can't do that while I'm driving and talking to you. And I was thinking, also, I'm meant to get home today reasonably nice hour because of my partner, and sort of be there for her. And so I sort of was conflicted, but then so I said to him, well, what alternative do we have? He said, well, nothing at the moment, but I'll think about it. So I said, oh, let me think about a price, and then I'll get back to you. So I used my spreadsheet, and what I did was I found out how many miles it was from London to Waterlooville, which was 71 miles, and how many miles it was from Waterlooville back home, which was 175. I put that mileage into my spreadsheet for today, and then I worked out what would I need to have added to the load, to the price, to make it worth my while to dead mile it back and still make a decent amount of money for the day. And I put in a figure which made my resulting figure for the day about £300 net of fuel, and that figure was £100 extra for the job. And I thought about it, and I thought, I've got over £1 a mile for my original job. If you take £1 a mile for the extra bit, 70 miles, then I'm only adding on 30 quid for my dead miling at home. So I think that seems like a fair amount to ask for. So I rang them back. I explained that I would do the job for £100 extra. They said that they'd get back to me when I spoke to the customer. About 15 minutes later, got the okay that they'd authorised that. They changed the CX booking with the amount on, and all they did say to me was the booking is now going to have London Waterlooville as the intermediary stop, but just do London first and then go on to Waterlooville. And I looked at that when I got it, and it said that the number of miles from Uttoxeter to Waterlooville to London was 245, and I was going to get 250 for this job. So I'm guessing, although I have no idea, that the shipper chose to put Waterlooville first and then London second to make the mileage higher, so that he could justify paying me just over £1 a mile for the job. I'm guessing that was to mitigate his boss saying, why have you paid so much for this job? I don't know, but that makes sense to me, because otherwise why not just have London as the intermediary stop and then Waterlooville as the end stop? Doesn't matter to me, but I thought it made sense, and we're all kind of working together here. So I've got what I want, he's got what he wanted, and hopefully none of us gets in trouble with anyone else. That's the main thing. What's next? Right, so my next problem was I had to then tell my partner I wasn't going to be back until very late, and I did it the classic way, which is just leave a WhatsApp voicemail. Yeah, I couldn't ring. To be fair, she was at work at the time. That's my excuse. So rather than me trying to say it in live, I just gave her a message and hoped that it would go down okay. I have since then had a reply, and the tone of the reply was friendly and loving, not angry and aggressive. So I think I got away with that. Right, so what happens there? So I was on my way to London. So I had the number to call when I got to near London, and just carried on. I got there pretty much on schedule. Just gone about 3 minutes past 7. I arrived on site, and I rang the guy, and he guided me in, and we just handballed off the pallet next to the back door. And then I made my way to Waterlooville, and I had no idea really how far away I was going to be going. But it was only an hour and 20 minutes drive, and most of that, well, at least good 15 minutes of that was just getting out of the bit of London I was in. So it was really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Interestingly, on the way down, so within about 15 minutes before I arrived, there was another job on the CX from UB1 going to Portsmouth, and I checked on the maps. UB1 was about 15 minutes away from my drop-off, and Portsmouth was about 20 minutes further on from Waterlooville. And I only had at this point a small box to deliver. So I was really tempted to put a bid on as a co-load. It was for a medium wheelbase job. What put me off was two things really. The first thing was, it was 73 miles loaded, and they had a note saying, if you can achieve the best price of £50, we'll pay you cash. And I thought, well, I'm not going to, even for a backload, I'm not going to pay £50 for this. For me, it was been a £75 job all day, and for me, it wasn't even a backload job. It was labelled as backload, but the pickup time was an hour. It was between, I think it was between 6:45 and 7:45. And it was to deliver ASAP, so it wasn't actually a backload job. So I thought, well, I would take it as a co-load if I could then do my delivery first. And it all fitted in. It really did fit in. I could have easily have got to Waterloo, got to UP1, picked up this load, gone to Waterlooville, dropped off the box, gone on to Portsmouth, and then gone home. But the other reason why I didn't want to do it is I would have had to have rung the shipper that I was with, and it said, "Do you mind if I take this second stage as a co-load?" And I just didn't want that conversation. Didn't want to have that kind of potential rejection, and then bid on it. I had to bid on it, get the job, say to the person, I can't necessarily take it until I get permission, or I could have rung my shipper first, said, if I get it, will you give me permission? I'm sure it would have been fine. I'm sure loads of you are going, don't worry about it, just do it, mate. But in the end, I just thought, I can't be bothered with the hassle. I've got good money for this. It's tied in well, and I don't like the idea of making something a backload when it's not. So, sod you, get someone else to do it. Yeah, so I just concentrated on doing my one box and went down to Waterlooville. So, I did that. I got down. The place I was going to was another branch of the place I delivered to in London. And I didn't have a number or a contact. I tried ringing the shipper on the way down and they weren't answering. So I just hoped that when I got there there'd be some sort of obvious person to speak to or trade entrance. And when I did arrive, which was about, I want to say 9 o'clock. It was actually still open. It was a retail unit which was still open. I was really surprised. So I walked in and I found the manager and gave them the item, and all was well. So that job is finished. So I'm now dead miling it home, having had a very interesting day of delivery. I started at 10 past 12. I'm due to get home at about, let's say 1 o'clock. Say quarter to 1 at the moment. I'm going to say 1 o'clock. But I did stop and have. At the retail unit that I went to, it had a grocery department, and so I did buy some food to eat on the way back. And I sat in the car park and I ate slightly that food before I left. So I delayed my return trip slightly by that. So my estimated time of arrival now is quarter to 1. I'm going to say, let's say 1 o'clock. So let me give you my stats, I think, and then I've got a few bits and pieces to talk about. So by the time I get home, I will have worked for 12.25 hours. A bad day. I started quite late, so I'm going to end quite late. The average fuel price at the moment is 14.34 pence per mile that I drive, though I do have to get some more fuel today before I get home, so that might well change after this video is done. Today I will have driven 492 miles, 492, and that means I will have spent today £70.55 on fuel. Let's say £71. I've made from 2 CX jobs £380, 380. That's the £130 that I got from going from Grantham to New Toxteth, and then the £250, 250, going from New Toxteth to London to Waterlooville. So, as I said before, if you then look at my net earnings today after fuel costs, that's £309 after fuel, which is quite a lot more than my target and a hell of a lot more than I've got in the last few months. So quite a nice day to end on. I'm not going to worry about doing a weekly summary at the moment. I'll probably do a supplementary video on this probably tomorrow, or maybe not. Maybe I won't. I've only worked 3 days this week, so it's not been a full week, but it's been okay in terms of the amount of money I've earned. Right. I just want to see. I've got a list of topics that I was going to talk about. I've got others that I haven't mentioned. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to talk about is YouTube comments, I suppose. I spent a bit of time replying to some comments when I was having my lunch a moment ago. I've got a few more comments to catch up on from other videos, and I will try to do that before Christmas. Make sure I've replied to everyone who's been kind enough to put comments on my videos. I think that I want the next thing that I say to be, I want to be a bit careful about it, because it could be taken as being negative, because I suppose in some ways it is a bit negative, and I don't want to be someone that comes across as being overly negative, because that's not who I want to be. But I think sometimes I want to say stuff, and it's just has to come out, and whatever comes out. So I'll just go with it anyway. So part of my experience this year has been starting a YouTube channel, and it's been really positive in loads of ways that I wouldn't have predicted. Before I go on and talk about comments, I wanted to mention something about YouTubers, I suppose, or same-day courier YouTubers. In my first videos, I did list the people that inspired me and the people I still look at their videos. And over the time of looking at other people's comments on their videos and comments on my videos and just some people's general attitude, I think I've got a thing to say about YouTubers who do these sorts of things that maybe isn't obvious to everybody. And it's this: all the YouTubers that I subscribe to that have content about same-day courier work, like myself, they all are just people doing a job and sharing their experiences honestly and openly using YouTube. They're not YouTube stars or YouTube influencers or making an income from YouTube. Their income is being a same-day courier, and that's what their bread and butter is. And from Pete the Courier to Big Beardy to White Knight Couriers, who's the newer ones, and everyone in between, and everyone that's no longer on the platform anymore, who used to do YouTube videos, and all the ones that are going to come in the future that don't exist now. I've not seen anybody that does it as a way to endorse products and to get money. You may be shouting at me and saying Pete the Courier did that. I think he tried, and it obviously didn't go anywhere for him when he tried to do the CX thing. He wasn't doing it in a kind of professional way. He tried it out, it didn't really work out for him. But when you think about YouTube as a lifestyle or an income generator or as a career, none of us are YouTube stars or YouTube content creators in that respect. All we are doing is offering our own perspectives and our own experiences of doing this job for free to those of you who have any interest in it. And I think sometimes people read too much into, in inverted commas, the YouTube channels. They're just normal people, just like you. They just happen to share through a video format, their days and their views. So I don't know whether that means anything to you or makes any sense. I just want to make it clear that they're just normal people, just like you. There's nothing special about them in terms of the way they see the world, the way they work. We're all unique people. We all have our own ways of seeing the world and working and thinking about what's best for ourselves. And YouTube is no different. So when I see a YouTube channel, it's just another career driver doing a job just like I'm doing, just the same as me. Anyway, comments-wise, so sometimes the comments that I hear and see, I read the comments, they can be quite negative and quite abusive sometimes. Not necessarily from me, but sometimes they are. Often they're not. Often they're very supportive. Often they're very collaborative, I would say. And I like the comments from people when they're either saying, I appreciate what you're doing and I share your views, or I share that aspect of your views, because I like that, because it's like I'm not on my own. I've kind of found a community of people that shares my way of either my values or my way of thinking. Alternatively, people who are very experienced in what I'm doing, because I find this really interesting, and they give me perspectives I hadn't thought about, or history that I hadn't thought about. But they do it in a way, a tone, and a way that is not judgmental and it's not patronising. What I'm talking about here is the people that can't do it that way. They are patronising and they are judgmental. And I want to just push back a bit on those comments. I know I'm quite a stubborn person. I'm not going to do something differently because some stranger on the internet tells me I'm doing something wrong. If you wanted to engage with me and tell me to do something differently, then just telling me you're doing it wrong is never going to get through to me. There are two aspects to that I think I want to sort of focus on. The first thing is, telling me I'm wrong means nothing to me because I don't know who you are and you don't know who I am. There are some people, and it's not the majority, who kind of think that the way they do things is the right way, and that they're doing you a favour by telling you how they do things because it's the right way, and obviously you need to learn the right way. And I think it's such a misguided approach to giving advice or sharing things. So telling someone else that they're wrong is never going to be, I think, a good way of doing it. There are, I suppose there's a grey area, isn't there, with everything. There's going to be some things where you are wrong. So if someone says, if I said, for example, the speed limit of a van is 80 miles an hour on the motorway, you can tell me I'm wrong because that's factually wrong. But telling me I should focus on reducing my dead miles, or I should focus on never go to Scotland, or just do local jobs, or get a smaller van. Yeah, there's a whole load of things you might work for you, but just tell me that's not wrong, that's right for you. Doesn't mean it's right for me. So that's the first thing. That I think that often it's about a style of communication when it's typed out that sounds, to my eyesight, it looks a bit more aggressive than maybe it's supposed to be. And I think the tone of written communication probably needs to be thought about a bit more sometimes from people. So you might not be trying to be patronising, but telling me I'm wrong, then going on to tell me what I should be doing, is patronising, absolutely patronising. And I told you right at the start of this video series, I'm 52. I've had life experience. I'm not completely naive about what to do in this world. What I do, which is probably different to most 52-year-olds, is I share all the things I'm thinking about in my head live each day through a YouTube video. Now that's not something people are used to 52-year-olds doing. But just because I share with you open and honestly what I'm thinking, does it mean that you can pick up on one little thing and then run with that as being, obviously I'm so naive, I don't know what I'm talking about. There's context about what I'm saying. There's me as a person, my character, my history, there's all these things that go into what I say, and this goes to my second point. The second point is this: if you're going to criticise me, but if you've engaged with me over a period of time with comments that are positive and negative, then I'll listen to you, because you've engaged and you've created a relationship. There are people that I can think about now who comment on my videos, who, if they were to give me a negative comment, criticism, I would take it much more seriously, because usually they are supportive and positive. And I don't want to name names because it's not fair, I haven't got anyone's permission, but if there's an experienced courier out there who watches my videos, or listens to my videos, and has been giving me comments over time, and then gives me some advice that I've not asked for, I'm going to take it much more from someone who's built up some time and effort over time than there's the 3 or 4 people who just post negative comments and nothing else. So it's about building up a relationship, isn't it? Even though we're not going to meet in person, what you type, the tone that you type, what you choose to focus on, whether you choose to be supportive or choose to be negative, it comes across in what you write. And I wanted to mention that and hope it wasn't going across as being too ranty, because I want to go back to the first thing I said. Most of my comments are supportive, and most of my comments I really like and enjoy, and it's just the odd few people, there's a few names, if you look back at my comments, there's a few people who only ever write negative things. And I don't really get why they do that, and it just comes across as being patronising, and because if I'm stubborn, I'm not going to listen to it. Now, I am going to make an assumption here. I'm going to assume that the people that I like watching their YouTube channels, the sort of people I mentioned at the start, if they're watching this video, are probably cheering me on and going, "Go DM," or however you refer to me. Hallelujah! I think they probably might agree. They might not, who knows? I'm just projecting. But I feel a kinship to those YouTube people. And this is my next point I wanted to say. I kind of feel like I'm one of them now. Right at the start of this, I put them on a pedestal, the sort of people I really admired, and I still admire them. I still really like their content, all of them. But I wasn't part of that group, and I feel over this year I'm just gradually starting to become a bit part of that YouTube community. Not necessarily in terms of communicating with them. They don't know who I am. I've not done any of that. But in terms of, I wanted to be someone that was consistent with my YouTube videos, that was reliable, that had a style that's unique. And I think you can probably agree that I have got a unique style, and that I was consistent. And I've managed to do that for most of this year. And I'm going to carry on for at least until March, and then we'll see what happens. I want to get a whole year of these videos under my belt, and then we'll just see. I'll take stock then. But I feel that I'm measuring myself into that company, those people. Yeah, so that's I want to say that. Right, quick drink. Right, next thing. I wanted to just take a moment to really appreciate where I've come in terms of my career. I'm going to call it a career. At the start of this year, I was sacked, as was all my team, from a depot from a multi-drop delivery service. Because in January, it goes quiet and then they get rid of people. It wasn't to do with performance, it was just to do with politics, I suppose. And now I'm running my own business as a self-employed same-day courier, and it has ups and downs, but I find it's an amazing job. And I go back to my first 3 videos I did. I still remember them. I remember trying to get them right in May and re-recording them and trying to work out what I was going to say. and I still stand by all of that. This is an amazing job for someone like me. It might be amazing for someone like you, but it might not be. But I really appreciate I have found a job that I will do for as long as I can. And I'm so thankful that eventually I got to a point where I've got a job that I look forward to doing every single day. And I realise that in my videos sometimes I do point out some niggles and things that go wrong, but I felt that I should do that because it's about trying to present the real life time of being a civic courier. It's not all great, but I treat this job, I approach this job with a general air of optimism and positivity, because I've done other jobs in the past which have been really bad for me. And within that optimism and positivity, there are niggles. It doesn't mean it's not a bad job. So I just wanted to take a moment to reflect that I'm coming to the end of the first first year of doing this, as in coming to the end of this 2023, and I am where I want to be with my job. And this brings me to my next thing. My life is almost perfect at the moment. My mental health is pretty good. My relationship status is very good. Complex but very good, I must say. It's still got some sorting out in one respect, but definitely getting there. My job is amazing. But there's one thing that is not working out for me, and that's what we're talking about now briefly. My weight issues are a constant problem for me, and there are those of you who would not care less about your weight, but it is the thing that matters to me, and I want to tell you in these terms why it matters to me. I think that I've said this before in a previous video, but I think that life, the meaning of life, is to make the most of your abilities and opportunities that you get. And I feel that if I don't lose my weight, I have wasted the opportunity of this body, and I've spent decades wasting that great gift of being alive in this country at this time, and I will have not fulfilled the potential that I had with looking after my body. And so for me, I've got to get on top of my weight issues. And that's the last thing. If I get that sorted out, I will die a happy man. So, bearing that in mind, Christmas has always been a tough time for me in terms of bad eating. I'm going to take the pressure off until the new year. I am going to give myself, from the 1st of January, a fresh start at trying to get losing weight, so a better diet and a bit more exercise. I'm going to document it in my videos. The reason why I'm using the 1st of January is because I do kind of like the concept of a fresh start, and in my mind a brand new year is like a fresh year. There's no blots on that year. I can almost sort of start again. And so from the 1st of January, that day will be my day one, and I'll try and do the right things on day one. Just take it one day at a time. To be fair, I'll take it an hour at a time. And I just want to try and use the new year as an impetus to get my head right about my weight and make 2024 the year where I, for a second time, lose a lot of weight. I've done it once before, and I want to try and do it again next year. It's a really important thing for me. Yeah. Okay, I think. Oh yeah, there's a couple couple of other quick things. When I went to when I went to the shop to get some food, I noticed that it was stocked full of kids, for want of a better word. So, i.e., teenagers or the early 20s, sort of my kids' generation age. So in their sort of 18, 19, 20s, and it was full of them working quite late, and I just felt a great sense of appreciation and admiration for them, and that generation generally. I've got great. I don't like to generalise generations. There's good and bad in all generations. But I just want to take a moment to say that there's a hell of a lot of good in Generation Z or Generation Z. So the kids that are now turning 18 to early 20s, and I wish them the best of luck in this world. They've got a lot to cope with, as we all do, and just want to shout out to Generation Z. Go for it. I hope you learn from our mistakes and have a great life. Right, I'm going to leave it there. So, if you are one of the amazing people that do this job as a driver or a shipper, I hope you have a great Christmas, a restful Christmas, a successful end of the year, and a great prosperous new year. I may or may not do any work between Christmas and New Year, I don't know. I know that there's a few things going on in January that I probably need to update you on as and when they arise, but right for now, have a lovely Christmas break. I am going to sign off now with my longest video to date, and wish you all health and well-being in the new year.